It's okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to E-Sig TV. Sorry about the delays, but Kevin broke it. What's that? Yep, we're having some technical difficulties tonight. How you doing tonight, Kevin? How are you, Kevin?
I am doing very well, sir. How are you?
I am delicious. But my board is not working tonight for some reason. My soundboard is echoing, according to my wife. Why, I don't know. How's that? Can you hear an echo? Can the people hear an echo?
I hear no echo. They say they don't hear any echo.
They're not hearing an echo, hon. It's just you. You sure? Okay, if anybody hears an echo, please let us know. Because we don't like annoying little echoes and stuff. That really pisses us off. I'd like to welcome Kevin tonight from Vapers Place. Welcome, Kevin. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, sir. Thank you for having me on. I've been waiting to be invited on E-Sig TV. It's been too long.
You're lying, dude. You're just a liar. You're a big fat liar face. So yeah, I'm gonna flop around. Keep talking, Kev. Say something like really interesting. How are you?
I am doing okay. I'm doing very well. I am excited because in a few weeks it's going to be Vape Bash, and I can't wait to get away and go to another large-scale vaping event, which is a shame that Drew's not going to be at. He should be at Vape Bash.
Yeah, I probably should. You're right. But the unfortunate thing is that I just can't. My wife will beat me if I go.
I do believe that. Angie does. Angie is the boss of the Unhaler household, in case anybody doesn't know.
Yeah, she she doesn't ever let me go anywhere. Actually, my wife has been really good for the past few years with me running all over the place and all that BS. So I have no complaints. But at any rate, without further ado, we're going to talk about tanks tonight. There's so many different kinds of tanks out there right now that we're just really going to graze over them. I'm showing here on the screen. I'm going to start with the simplest form. It's a mini tank. It's not even really a tank. It's like a clear cartomizer. So that's probably this isn't the one, but this is one of the first ones that really came out that was the first thought of tanks. And just to let everybody know, the oldest tank that I can remember was probably the map tank. Wouldn't you say, Kev?
Yeah, definitely the map tank.
It's a map tank, and that was designed around a CE2 cartomizer, which were really got popular for a while. And I guess these little Crystal Visions and these little tanks that I'm showing, that's pretty much what they're based off of. It's a horizontal, it's an atomizer or a horizontal coil cartomizer that's mounted in a tube that wicks liquid in a number of ways. Basically the Crystal Vision cartomizer, which I have up there, people call them CE2, CE4, CE6, CE9, I think they're up to now with the replaceable coil one. But that's basically what it is. It's a minier, cleaner, easier to fill version of the original CE2 tank, which was basically a CE2 cartomizer that was very much, the internals were very much just like these. So, that's pretty much it. Now we have that, and you're moving right along. You got the mini VV Nova, which is the same thing basically with a bigger tank, replaceable head, listen, they're very, very popular. I use them. They kind of mute flavor for me. I do use them. I have one right here that I'm using that I put really strong liquids in there that can use a little bit of mutant. That's what I intend to do and use in them. I can't really use them at higher voltages because for me it gives a burnt taste, But
it's the opposite for me, Drew. I don't have a problem with the flavor of them. For me, it's the throat hit because I use 12 milligram juice and I don't get the throat hit.
Well, and that's sort of what I mean, I guess. Maybe I'm misrepresenting it. I wouldn't exactly go to you for flavor since you do have a clitoris in your nose.
Yeah.
And you can't really taste most flavors, but I agree with you. That's what I mean by muted. It's like that, you don't get a throat hit out of it. And the flavors for me is diminished in there. But if you take like a super strong flavor, like some of my liquids, I can't even sell them at full strength because they're just so strong. Like that's so strong that it gets to a point where you pick up that floral sort of like chemically taste or whatever. So,
but don't get me wrong, for a new vapor, these things work great. I mean, they're fantastic, simple, and they're great for a new vapor. There's no question. I would definitely recommend a VV Nova, a C4, C2 for a new vapor.
Well, and the other thing, I wish I had a video of it up. I just did a video last week. What I actually learned from the people on ECF, dude, they're like, some of them are really brilliant. They fiddle around with stuff so much that they figure stuff out. But I've been pulling string out of them. Like if you see in this picture I have up, you can't see it, but you'll see all these strings that are in there. If you pull a couple of these little strings out of there, I'm going to go full screen with this so I can explain it better. See, 2. No. 2. New. That's not working, so I'm going to leave that alone. But basically, hold on just a second. Let me see if I can get this in a different shot. But you pull a couple of those strings out, and it tends to repair it. Yeah, for some reason.
What do you mean repair it? It gives it you get a better throat hit and flavor when you do that?
Yeah, exactly. It allows it to wick better, basically. So I'm going to throw this up on the screen real quick. Yeah, so I was just informed that my sound went out once I changed that shot. So, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. So, yeah, I had a snafu with this. It must have changed the sound card on here somehow, but we can work from here. At any rate, you pull those strings out, and you get better flavor. So, I'm going to move right along to the EVOD. Is another great tank that just came out. It's basically the same thing as the ones I was just showing you, but the coil is in the bottom, and for me it has much better wicking tendencies. Then we have its cousin, the Vape Only, which is very similar to EVOD, just a bigger capacity tank. It holds about 5 or 6 mils. I have these hooked up right here now too. I'm using them all. I'll tell you what, I think these really are going to give Cartomizer tanks a run for their money. They're gonna change because they're just so simple. It's like these fill from the bottom. by the way. And I would have spent more time showing you how to build them.
I mean, how does the EVOD give you the same type of vape as a VV Nova or CE2?
It's very similar, but the flavor is, for me, the flavor is much better, and the wicking and everything. They do have it, but the same thing. I removed that string from them also. So when I first got them, I wasn't even going to carry them because when I tested them, they were burning right away. As soon as I pulled one of those strings out of there, it was amazing. So that, and the other thing that I've learned from watching different videos and stuff like that, when the liquid gets low, they spit. Like it loses the vapor lock in there once the liquid goes down, like probably, I guess, about an eighth or, I don't know. When the liquid gets low, just refill it because they have a tendency to leak upwards.
Karen has a good question. She said, when you say pull one string out, do you mean just a portion of the wick?
Exactly. That's exactly what I mean.
Okay.
And no, they're when I don't know if they're cooler. I'll tell you what, man. If you don't have one, try one. They're not that expensive. They're on par. Excuse me, the EVODs are about $7, and they come with a thing with the coil in there that you would be able to try it. And the vape onlys, I think, are, I want to say 12 or 13, maybe 14, something like that. Everybody, it seems like everybody's getting them, and they come with 3 heads. And
are these products available at Inhaler?
We're a non-denominational church, so. We don't really like to talk about that too much. Speaking of churches, dude, we've had some really good weather here the past couple of days. How about you?
Yes, we have as well. It's been very nice. I almost took my motorcycle out today.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. I walked out the back door here on the deck, and in the sun, it was beautiful. I could have just stripped down and laid right down. If my workers weren't here, I probably would have.
You would have scared the neighbors if you did that.
No, it's the deck in the back. The animals, dude, when I take my clothes off, the animals run. Like, do you ever see, like, in a movie where somebody shoots a gun in the woods and the birds all fly and you hear, like, squirrels and shit running away? That's what happened when I take my clothes off.
Well, they probably think you're a bear.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they think. I know one thing. They don't want to stand around and look at whatever it is. And I don't blame them. But at any rate, so that's that. What else
now,
do we have?
Speaking of tanks, I know there's all these different types out there that you just explained. I've tried, not the newer ones. I haven't tried the EVOD or the BBC or anything like that, but I've tried the C4s. I've tried many different VV Novas. I get frustrated with them. I have a hard time getting them to work right. So to me, the simplest thing in the world is just a basic carto tank.
Oh, dude, stop it.
It's so easy.
We're going to get to you, pal. We're going to get to you. But
no, I'm just saying, I wanted a bow carto in a tank works fantastic.
Listen, I agree with you. I use those for a long time, but let me tell you what kind of turned me off. And I know there's other people. I know partially you also. Number one, there was a terrible long run of defective bow cartomizers, right? Which I was strung out like a research monkey on those cartos. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even always put them in a tank. I was just using them. So yeah, Bowgate. Karen's saying Bowgate. Phil Bow Carto actually did a whole thing on Bowgate. But listen, and even before that, even before everybody noticed, I remember sitting out here messing around with them things, and sometimes the filler was a little tight. There's so many aspects of a cartomizer that can make it work badly that it can be the filler can be too tight. The height of the coil can be too tight. You can start it up early and burn a hole through that little sock. If the little sock that's over the coil is crooked, there's just so many things. So I agree with you, dude. They're great. But there was a long run of inconsistency with them. So, and then there were so many tanks coming out that everybody wanted to try new tanks. And I was pretty much, I bet you I tried 30 different tanks on the market at one time or another. I liked the DCT tanks, but I didn't like, DCT is a dual coil tank. I didn't really like the dual coil end of it. for using on some devices. So, that's another one we should really be talking about. I mean, that was a huge tank that was available for a long time and that a ton of people used. Here's a tank that's designed to be used with a dual coil tank. And those were probably the cheapest and the most common. But I got to tell you, I got frustrated with them. And when the CE4 came out, I used them for a long time with ultra low voltage because they couldn't stand the voltage. But right. I just liked the convenience. I was willing to sacrifice some of the flavor and the throat hit and use different liquids in them that complemented those Cartos because I was so tired of messing around. Once I got used to them, the reality of it is they work on a regular battery. They work really well on a regular battery. And then when the twists and the revolvers and the spinner batteries came out, it was like a win-win. You could crank them up to the perfect voltage and use them all day without, having to, crank them up or have a stacked battery device, which was pretty much how the dual coil Cartos ran best. Were with higher voltages, but you couldn't get that high voltage even with a variable voltage device for very long because you were just kicking out so many amps that the batteries didn't last long and you were stressing the batteries out and heating them up and all that good stuff. So, but I do agree with you. There's still people that love to use and will continue to use. I'm sure there's people that have Bogue Cartomizers stacked up, 10 deep.
Well, I did. I had a lot of Bogue Cartomizers stacked up, but I started to run out during that whole Bogate thing, and I wasn't sure where to buy them. Mm-hmm. I was worried because everybody said that they were terrible. And then I don't know if I think I just went to Cisco's site one day and he had XL Bogue Cartos, and I'm like, XL? I don't even know they made XL Bogue Cartos.
They came out after Bogate. They actually came out after that.
They were great, and I'm like, oh my God. So I started using those. But before that, I was, for the longest time, I used the Smoke Techs, the dual coils.
Yeah.
And those seem to work okay. I mean, not as well as the Bogues, there's no question.
Well, but they're just... and listen, I love the way they worked. I love the way they wicked. I just didn't like the voltages that I had to put on them to get the flavor that I wanted out of them. You know what I mean? And the I should say the amperage that I had to use to run them, because the dual coil 1.5s, they're demanding on batteries. They stress the shit out of a battery. So
yes,
because what happens is it thinks it's trying to feed 1.5 ohms, where it's really trying to feed it across two coils. So a 1.5 ohm dual coil Cartomizer is really two 3 ohm coils that are trying to reach the heat of a low resistance atomizer. And if you put that on any kind of variable device, like a power regulated device that wants to read that, it confuses it. So it's sort of, and it draws more amps is the bottom line. I'm probably confusing everybody now because I can't even understand what I'm saying. But
it must be.
But the reality of it is they're more demanding on your devices. So, but overall, I love the way they perform most of the time. You know, every now and then you'd poke a hole too deep, or you'd get one that the hole wasn't lined up right. And I think that's pretty much with all Cartomizers. So
that's with all Cartomizers. Whenever I would buy them in 25 packs, and out of that 25 pack, I would always have at least 3 or 4 that were no good. I mean, that's just, it happens. They just come that way. I mean, I would say that with just about any Cartomizer. That's I recently got some of the oh geez, I want to say not the 808s, but the
801 Fusion.
801 Fusions. Yeah. And the same thing. I mean, I had a couple that were bum ones, but those are great Cartomizers too. The Fusions.
A lot of people like them because they're basically the same size as the other. It's basically just got a different air port on it. You know, it's got that ring on the bottom and an 801 connection, obviously, and it has that air that brings it in down through the bottom of the Cartomizer, which is slightly different than some of the other cards. It's pretty much the same, but it's slightly different. And a lot of people like that airflow. I really think it depends on what device you're using it on and what kind of adapter. Because if you get some of those stealth adapters, they worked really well. But if you got like an older adapter, one of the bigger, older ones, they didn't work so well. But a ton of people swear by them. You know, listen, I used them for a while too. I sort of liked them because they also had like a hump on there, so you couldn't push the tank down too far. It sort of held the tank in the right position, like it wouldn't go down too low on them because of that hump at the bottom.
Karen's got a question. She says she's using 1.7 ohm Smoke Tech 2 coils at 11 watts. She wants to know if that's okay. Do you think that's a problem?
No, it's not a problem. Now on your Vamo, are you stacking batteries? No. Okay, then yeah, it's not a problem. If you're getting decent battery life out of it, that's perfect, man. Whatever, you know, however you like to use it, you know. What I'm saying is, and it's probably not so much with a Vamo as some of the other devices. It just, you know, a Vamo, you can take the battery out and throw it out and replace the battery. But it will stress your batteries out. It'll decrease the overall life of your batteries using that. But
no, I don't think a Denali doesn't stack batteries.
Does it have 2 batteries or 1 battery in it?
I think it has 1 battery. Oh, it has 2. Okay, but they're running in parallel, I think.
No, I think they run them wild. I think she just doesn't stack them up actually in the device. She has them in 2 holders. Denali's a variable voltage, yeah. So that's a buck boost. But even that, no, they're in series, which means they're stacked. But it's not a terrible thing. I wasn't, when I was talking about stressing batteries, more like if you threw a DCT on a regular small battery, you wouldn't really get as much satisfaction out of it, and it would you know, require a little bit more draw. It would draw more volts than an average thing. But all right, so we're going to talk about filling our tank, and to do that, we have our resident expert tank. Let me stop here. What are you doing for Easter, Kev?
What am I doing for Easter? I'm going to be going to my mother's house for Easter.
Are you celebrating, or do you like do any kind of mini crucifixion or anything? Do you do anything on Good Friday, like not eat meat or mow your lawn or anything special? Easter egg hunt?
None of that stuff.
You're not doing any Easter egg hunts this year? That's depressing. What about
my son's 15. I think he's a little bit too old for Easter egg hunts.
What about Chloe?
My dog?
Yeah.
I don't know. She'll probably do the same thing she does every other day. Sleep, eat, and shit.
Oh, okay. We're having a little Easter egg hunt here at my house this week. I'm having my in-laws and friends and family over. We do it every year. My wife does it, I should say. I say we, but I do nothing. I stand there and watch.
That sounds fun, actually.
Yeah, it is. It is. The kids love it. So, but at any rate, without further ado, I'm going to throw Kevin up on the big screen. I'm going to test and see if you can hear him. Say something, Kevin.
Something. I am here. Can they hear me? Actually, before I do this, can they hear me? They should be able to hear me.
Can you hear him, on? Okay, we're good.
Did you hear me? Okay. That's good. All right. And I do, you know, I think that we also have a lot of users that still use Carto tanks, because this is the ultimate lazy vapors way to vape. It really is. I mean, I feel this is a 5 mil tank. I fill this up. This will last me all day. So, you know, and it's fantastic. So I'm going to show you my method of how to fill.
Oh boy,
this is a fail-proof method. I've been using this forever.
Oh,
I never have it leak. I never have the Carto never floods. It works perfect. Every single time I do this. Now, before you fill your tank, you want to make sure these caps right here. Okay, there's an O-ring on the outside.
Yes, there is.
And there's an O-ring on the inside. Want to make sure these O-rings are in good shape. They're intact. They're not ripped or torn in any way, because if these O-rings aren't in good shape, you're going to get air in there, and it's not going to work.
Now, do you lubricate your hole before you fill it?
I do not. I just go in dry.
Oh, okay. All right, because I know some people like to put a little, e-liquid on there sometimes.
Yes. Well, it depends. I mean, if I have a newer tank and it's kind of rough to get in there, I'll put some e-liquid around the edge of the cartomizer. But
excellent.
yeah. So what we do here is here's your cartomizer, obviously right here. You're gonna pop this white top off. I use a paper clip.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So we pop that off. Now, this is what they define as the condom method. And they call it that because you use one of these little condoms that are on the end of your Bogue or whatever cartomizer.
Oh boy.
Yes. Now what we're going to do is on the Bogue Cardo specifically, see how one condom is bigger than the other? It's the smaller condom, not the bigger condom.
Why is that?
Because you have to use very little juice to fill it. But before we do that, we are going to punch our cardo. Now, I use this punch right here. I can't remember what it's called now, but I got it at Avid Vapor. I think it was like $14, whatever. I mean, it's a great cardo punch. Works great. But there's all kinds of cardo punches out there. I'm sure you can go to Inhaler and find many cardo punches. He's got a wide selection. So now what I do is, what's great about this cardo punch is you just, stick it in there and twist down and it pierces the cartomizer perfectly. So what I'm going to do, and you'll hear it pierce. See, I'll put it to the mic.
Now, why? Oh, I heard it. Oh, I did.
Heard it? See that?
That little pop.
Yes.
Now, you use one hole, or is that one of the punches that measures? Oops, you dropped it. Is that one of the punches that measures, like it's like how you slide it in and line it up? That's exactly where the hole should be, or?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Well, I mean, you get an idea, like, for instance, with the Bogue Cardos, with this particular one, I know that pretty much where the threads come out is where it's lined up, and that's right.
So, yeah, so as you're going there, I don't want to interrupt you, but some of the people may have different, like the caps on tanks can be different thicknesses, that cap that he was just showing you. So sometimes you might want to do a dry run and line your cartomizer up with the bottom of your cap to make sure that hole you're punching is above the O-ring in there. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, that is a good suggestion. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this juice up halfway. Do you see that? You put halfway.
Yep, I can see it.
Then you're going to take the bottom of the cardo right here, the cartomizer, and you're going to stick it into the condom and slowly stick it in until it goes in all the way.
Is that the top or that's the bottom? You do the from the bottom.
Yes, this is the top, and I go through the bottom.
Okay.
So I stick it in through the bottom, and as you can see when you do that, I don't know if you could see this or not. I'll try to show you, but there's already a little bit of juice that has...
I can see it. Yeah, I can.
Yep. See it? Okay. You let it sit for maybe 20 seconds. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the condom off, just like that. Now, if for some reason the top of the cartomizer, you don't see juice in it, like right now I'm looking, there's like one little part that doesn't have juice, I'm just going to put a drop of juice there. Do not saturate the cartomizer with juice. You just want to, if it's dry up top just enough to where there's juice, and that's it. Not maybe 1-2 drops tops. Don't put like 3, 4, 5 because you're going to flood it. So now I'm going to take the cartomizer and put it.
What do you do if you do flood it? What do you usually do?
I haven't flooded in so long that I couldn't even tell you. When I used to flood it,
I used to blow them out a little bit sometimes.
Yeah,
I would check
yeah.
it.
When they did flood, I do the same thing. I take it out and
blow it into a tissue. Yeah,
blow it tissue and put it back in. And then we're just going to fill the tank like so. Which is going to take a while because this bottle of juice isn't flowing the way it's supposed to. And then I will put the top on, and this will vape perfectly without any flooding or dry hits or nothing at all. It really, really works very, very well. And there's other methods, Drew. I mean, what other methods? I've been using
Well,
that.
I was just going to butt in and say that. They Karen's asking me who I used to blow. Random gentleman. No, but there are people that do slots. There's there's so many. There's probably more than I could name. More methods. People like to put slots in them. People poke 2 holes. My wife used to poke 1 hole higher, 1 hole lower. I've talked to people that did 3 holes in them. There's pre-punch that you can buy that have laser holes in the side of them, 3 perfectly aligned holes that are tiny. Some people find they like the smaller, and it really it's like a process of elimination, really.
I just want to point out real quick, before I put this top on, I'm about to put the top on the tank and push it down. Make sure you have a paper towel below, because when you do, juice comes out of this bottom hole. Like so.
Yeah, and I hate when juice leaks out of your bottom hole and goes all over your chair and stuff. But at any rate, people, use Dremels. People poke slots in them. You can buy them pre-dotted, 2-hole, 3-hole, single hole. It's a process of elimination. And all of these factors, I think, is why a lot of people use different ones. It depends on what tank you're using. So, like, one tank might work really well with, 2 holes. Another tank, and me and Kevin were having this conversation the other day where we were saying, look, all tanks are basically the same, but the reality of it is they are slightly different. They all look alike. And they're all, like his filling method would probably work with 90% of the tanks you use, or 95. But and somebody, Jeannie said in the chat, it's the juice too. It's all those factors. It's right back to the discussion we've had about cartomizers, atomizers, and everything else. Your liquid viscosity has a great deal to do with the size of the hole, whether you like it slotted, whether you like one lower. Your vaping preferences. Some people take real long draws. Some people take short burst draws. So it really, we're giving you the basics here, and which are probably going to work with most tanks. Now, you may find down the road, you might want to try popping 2 holes in there, or putting one at the bottom and one at the top for your particular tank or device that you're using on it. The other thing is there's a number of different devices that change the way the air comes into the cartomizer and or tank. So, there's just a lot of factors that can really, say one way or the other, which way it's going to go for you. But what do you think, Kev?
Well, you're right, and many people use. And I've tried so many different methods. When I started using carto tanks, I couldn't do it for the life of me. I'd flood them. I had everybody saying, "Try this method, try that method." I try other methods. I could. Every 3 or 4 times I would fill a carto, I'd have one of the 3 or 4 times, or possibly 2, where I couldn't get it to work. I actually got frustrated at some point and gave up on them. And then somebody one day showed me this method, and it just caught on for me for some reason. And it's just been I've never failed with this method. And also, too, it doesn't matter what method you use. I think if you just choose a method and stick with it, because after doing it for so long, you just get it. I mean, it's just down to a science. And, a lot of it is practice as well. Whatever method you do decide to use, a lot of it really is practice. It's just like riding a bike. Once you get it down, that's it. You know it. You got it. I haven't used a carto tank in I don't know how long, because I've been using all this new stuff I got now. Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, practice has a lot to do with it, too. I did use a lot of carto tanks. Someone asked in the chat. I did use a lot of them. Now I don't, but I did for a very long time. I have a lot of tanks, and I prefer the glass tanks just for the fact that I know it makes a difference in taste when it comes to the juice, as opposed to the What do they use? They don't use plastic, do they?
It's like a polycarbonate, but right. Yeah, and you know, that's another thing we probably should have mentioned before. If you're using citrus liquids, cinnamons, you know, there's a whole list somewhere, and I probably should have had it, but there's a list of liquids that will break down polycarb tanks. Almost every tank on the market now, you can get a glass tube for it, though. So, yep. If you do prefer that, and you know, I remember debating with people saying it changed the taste, and finally I realized that the majority of the people it was dramatically changing the flavor were the ones that were using liquids that were having reactions with the tank. You know, I know there was some strawberries. There was strawberry banana mixtures. There was a whole list on ECF somewhere that, you know, and I think it depends on the flavoring and the base of the flavoring. You know, the reality of it is a lot of these juices, when you mix them together, they make cross compounds. They might be fine by themselves, but when you mix them together, they make a new compound. And it might be corrosive on certain types of plastic, you know, so.
Yes, I've seen cinnamony liquid, like, crack regular tanks. I mean, really crack where they're leaking.
Yep.
So, you know, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I've just, you know, I've always gone with the glass. I just think I get a much better flavor. You know, or should I say the Pyrex? It's actually a Pyrex tank, and they just work wonderful. I mean, I like the Pyrex too because I've dropped it. This is a Pyrex tank. I've dropped it before. It has not cracked. It has not broke. You know, it's very sturdy, and it's always just worked out well for me. And there's so many, you know, Carto tanks too. Lisa mentioned before, she said the most consistent vape. They do. They've always given me the most consistent vape, and I just really, I'm a lazy vapor. You know, I put a Carto in a tank, I fill it up, and this tank right here will last me all day. No worries, and I can just vape. I can leave the house and know this is not going to fail. You know, that's what I like about the Carto tanks. They are very consistent. So, Drew?
Yes.
What kind of tanks are you using? Because I know you use tanks.
Oh, dude, listen. Right now, I'm in the prototype stage. I have Addy tanks. I have VV Novas. I have this little Houdigi. I got a double VV Nova. I think they're calling it a couple different things. I think it's a Twix. It's like an over and under VV Nova.
I got one of those too, and I think that's neat. What's cool about that, so everybody understands, because I have one here. I got one, I don't know, a while ago. You can keep two different types of e-liquids in it.
Right.
So it's like you could put like tobacco in one. I put tobacco in one and grape in the bottom one, and I was vaping the grape. When I was done, you take it apart, screw it back on.
Right.
It's really cool.
Right.
I
mean, you can mix the liquids without actually mixing the liquids. So you can see how two liquids sorta would taste together. And dude, mine has been a lot of fun. I got to tell you that. Every now and then I'll turn it up a little bit. I'll taste the one flavor. I'll turn it down a little bit and taste the other flavor. Then you set it another way, you taste them both. So yeah, it's been fun. I don't know if it's more of a novelty or whatever, if it'll actually ever come to fruition. I like the idea that you can vape just one of the tanks by itself if you want.
Well, that's what I like about it. I like that you can leave the house and, you know, you may not want to use menthol all day. You may want to switch to a tobacco.
Right.
Well, there you go. You got them both on your tank and you're good to go. I mean, I think it's neat. I do think it's something that people would use. I don't vape the same flavory juice for days and days on end. I mean, I switch between two different flavors, and, you know, even throughout the day I switch. I'll do maybe tobacco in the morning and grape ape in the afternoon if I didn't run out of grape ape.
Yeah, so, and to carry on, I'm using that. I'm using the EVOD. I'm using the vape only. I got one of these the other day with a different kind of, it's one of these flange. I think it's called the flange tank. We're actually going to be giving one of these away tonight. When we get a little further along, we're going to give this one right here away.
Do you have any tanks there that people have not seen yet? Something that you're prototyping? Something that
yeah, I do. I have one of these. It's like, it looks like the Kanger Pro Tank, but it's not. It's not glass. I have it set up here on a pipe. It's a giant CE4 XL or whatever you want to call it, a Crystal Vision XL.
Jeez, I think what kind of juice do you have in there? It's really dark.
That's some good stuff in there too. That's been like stewing in there.
Looks like Drew Back 04 is what it looks like.
I keep refilling it. No, it's actually like two different flavors. It's one of my I don't think there is it's my the Drew Bacco in there. It's like signature tobacco with some tropical coffee, which is like a strong coffee flavor that has like a hint of tobacco.
Wow.
I'm using the EVOD on another pipe. This is a little VV thing that I'm prototyping right now. It's like a twist add-on. You can put this on regular batteries or a regular Ego battery, or you can put it on devices like this, and it gives you variable voltage with an EVOD.
Drew is so far ahead of the game when it comes to all this stuff. That's actually that's actually the EVOD version 12 he has.
Look at that.
What is that?
It's a pipe tank.
Pipe tank.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I was laying on its side, and this battery's probably a little dead too, but. Yeah, I got some good liquid in there too.
Someone in the chat said it looks like a saxophone.
This is sort of a tank, but it's really not. This is a prototype also. This is that new cigar type. Can chew on it. It's a big hunk of rubber on there.
That's why I saw you using that the other day. And I was saying, you know, where they failed is they need to have a light at the end. An actual light that lights up that looks like a cigar light, and they could keep the way the end is, but make it kind of look. You got to make it look like a cigar.
Oh, it will. Like I said, this is a prototype, but I don't know if you've seen Grim Green's video. His most recent video with the Vapor for Life, Vapor Zeus, it's called.
Oh, the Vapor. No, I haven't.
Well,
I know what you're talking about, though.
Basically, it's going to look just like a cigar, just like something like this would.
Right.
You know what I mean? The finished product. But
there you go. Yeah.
This is these are just prototypes, and we did these prototypes to get the Cartomizers right, and get the tip right, because you know the tip's great, but that one I just showed you, like you can chew on it and hold it in your mouth, but it's a little heavy. It's a 1300 mAh 5-volt battery. So
I would take the weight to have a nice size battery in it.
Yeah. Well, you can get them with they're going to have 1100 mAh batteries in them also, which are, you know, this is one of them. This is a different tip. That one's kind of chewed up, but that one's just blacked orange. See, this one you can hold too, but it's not like something you can chew on. So, and this is an 1100 mAh battery that's either auto or manual. So that's auto, then you click it 5 times and it's manual. So now it's manual.
So I don't know how you use so many different things throughout the day. I use 2 things and that's it.
Dude, if I show you my desk, you could do a backflip. But the stuff I got on my desk, I mean, I got so many things, and it's the nature of the beast. It's all the, you know, the stuff that you look at, you got to use it for a while. I can't just buy it and sell it. You know, it turns into a nightmare.
Yeah, I really just am attached to my two things I use, and that's it. And
all right, so listen, we're losing all souls past the hour. I know we started late. I'd like to thank everybody. We're gonna do Kev's gonna do a random generated number right now for us.
Okay, so how many entries do you have?
How many do we have there, hon? What's the list? Huh? 44.
Okay, 44. So we're going to do random.org up to 44. Are you ready?
We are ready.
Okay, we're going to hit generate. Number 35 came up.
Number 35.
Do you know who 35 is?
Yes, Anne's just checking for me right now because she's brilliant.
And what do they win again? They win the tank?
The flask tank from Fluid Vapor. I was at that vape meet in New York and I bought 2 of them.
It's a nice tank.
Yeah, very nice. Very, very nice. I'll tell you what, it's super light. And the winner is Mufasa. Mufasa. I'm not going to say his name out loud, but most of you know him. I don't think he's in the room. But that's his name on ECF.
Well, Mufasa just got a very nice tank.
Yes, he did. He'll appreciate that, too. I like that guy. He's like a little kooky, but I like him. If you're listening, don't be mad. I don't mean it kooky in a bad way. I just meant kooky. But at any rate, listen, everybody, thanks very much for stopping in. Sorry about the delay. And Kevin, thank you very much. I hope you have a delicious, wonderful Easter weekend.
I will have a delightful weekend.
A delightful weekend, yes.
It's going to be very nice outside, and I'm going to be on my motorcycle all weekend.
Is it supposed to be nice? I haven't even looked, dude. I've been so busy, yes. But I know the last 2 days have been really nice here. So
yeah,
it's nice, man. It was like a long, weird winter, so that warm weather will come in perfect. I love this time of year too. It's my favorite. This in the fall, not too hot, just cool enough. Cool enough you could wear your Shroby. That's what I have on tonight, my Shroby. How you like it? This is a shirt and a robe.
Very sexy.
You can throw this on right out of the shower, and you can work up, get lathered up, and there's no effects. It's like a thin towel, a thin, soft towel. I was talking to somebody earlier. I said, what are you all dressed up for? I said, dude, I got a Shroby on. You kidding me?
I'll tell you, with the shirt and the hair, you look very manly.
I look manly with the shirt and hair? All right, well, everybody, again, thanks so much. We're going to be doing these giveaways. If you haven't subscribed, where do they subscribe at, hon? Oh, there's links in the chat of where to subscribe. Subscribe to any one of those, and your name will be put into a list with the number, and we'll do a random generated thing. We're just going to do random stuff again. And I was explaining this to Kevin, and he was breaking my balls a little bit. I don't want to turn it into an advertisement for a bunch of companies. So we're going to do prototype stuff. Cisco will join us, from time to time. We'll have different people joining us. We're not going to be spamming products necessarily. It's meant to be more informative. We don't want to turn it into a spam thing, but people like to get free stuff, and it spices things up, giving it something away here and there. So we're just going to do random products from random sites, either stuff we bought or prototypes and stuff like that.
And what Drew was trying to say before is, if you want to enter to win these contests, these wonderful contests, these giveaways, you can like them on Facebook, you can follow them on Twitter, you can add them to your circles on Google+, you can subscribe to them on YouTube, or you can follow them on Justin TV.
That's exactly what I meant to say. Awesome. Dude, I hacked that shit up so much. I'll never be listen, when CNN calls me, I'm not going to be able to accept.
Oh, you're fine.
Or when I go mainstream.
Listen, you're doing great. I think you're doing a good job.
Yeah, so at any rate, folks, I'm going to say it one more time. Thanks so much for coming in, and over and out. Have a great night.
Night, everybody.
Now I'm going to put something up on the screen, but my thing's broke, so I can't. I can put it up, but I don't have sound. Hold on. Over and out.